Good afternoon, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Hope you are doing well. It's a beautiful day, but I'm still hot and sweaty. I've been working in the sun. Finally mowed the clover. We don't really have a lawn anymore. It's mostly clover, but that's okay because the pollinators love it, and there's a couple bunnies, one bunny that loves it. So I don't mind. Frankly, I could care less about grass. Anyway, we've got a bunch of beautiful stuff that I just picked up at the nursery this morning to switch over a couple of containers, not all of them, just a couple to like late summer, early fall, stuff that will carry us through to the holiday season. So I'll show you those, but I also want to show you just what the cottage garden is looking like right now. Normally in August and September, it's most everything in there is dead or dying. It looks terrible. There's still patches of that, but the planting that I've done this year of late summer blooming things has really paid off, and I'm happy with that. So let me show you that first, and then we'll talk about the containers that we're going to switch out. There's not that many of them. I have a lot of plans for the other containers. In fact, I think a lot of them are going to get spring bulbs, and so they'll look empty for the fall, and the winter, but I think it's going to be great to have a huge show in a lot of these containers for the spring. Okay, let's go take a look at the cottage garden, and hopefully you'll see what I see. To you, it may look like a total mess. And yes, there's weeds and all that stuff, and there's some dead plants that I'm going to pull out, but it is so much more alive than it usually is this time of year. It always looks great in the spring, like beautiful in the spring into early summer, and then it just kind of falls apart because most of the plants I've had in there up to this point have been spring blooming things. And also because generally in the summer we are in the hundreds temperature wise for weeks at a time, which means that even really hardy summer annuals and even some perennials will really suffer in that no matter how much water you give them. And we've had a very mild summer, so that might be part of it. All right, let's go take a look. Okay, this is gonna be the good, the bad, the ugly. This is the ugly. These are all of the pots and trays and 6-packs and things that I need to clean out still. They've been sitting here for weeks. My husband's a saint because I know this drives him up the wall. I will get to it hopefully this weekend. But let's start on this end of the cottage garden. So we got our grasses here, and this is some mountain mint. I've been wanting to establish this for a long time. This is an excellent plant for putting on lots of stems for bouquets and arrangements. So this will spread, and I'm really happy that it's doing so well. Also mixed in there is some comfrey, which I think every garden needs. So we got some red rooster grasses here. You might wonder why I don't really have much in the way of grasses in this cottage garden or really in any of our gardens. That's because they're not allowed here. They are seen as a prime source of fuel. So it really stinks because fuel for fire. It stinks because I love that texture and I would incorporate a ton of them in, but they're just not permitted plants. And we will get ticketed and we will be forced to remove them. And I'm okay with that. I really am. If it means that our community is safer, if all the houses are hardened to fire, then the chances of us losing our house in a fire are a lot lower. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so we've got this one Rudbeckia here, which I totally need to deadhead today, but that's what the flowers look like normally. These guys have been up here for weeks and weeks. However, I'm going to deadhead them and save them so I can collect the seed. They are nice and dry now. That'll be great. Probably won't bloom again this year, but it'll definitely come back. This is a gazania, I think. Then we've got these little red and green guys are hardy geraniums. They're really, really pretty, and they have cute little flowers. We've got lupines in here, some lavender. We've got foxglove for next year. So the foxglove you see here will send up a flower spike next year. We've got irises. I have more irises to plant. We'll be doing that maybe tomorrow. Here's another beautiful Rudbeckia that needs some deadheading, but it's still looking great. Dusty Miller, that was started from seed like 5 years ago at this point. We've got some feverfew in here, also started from seed many years ago, and it's perennial for me here. This is a native yarrow, which is white, and it dries. It's not that pretty, but it's also a little too short for bouquets because it's a native variety. It's not bred to be tall, but I love it, and that will stay in here. It's a nice middle border plant. This is a weed. It's way too tall for here. And you can see growing through here some of these weeds. So I did plant this, Sweet Alyssum. I did plant this. This is a ground cover. It's so cute, right? But there's also Self-Heal in here, which I did not plant, and that just spreads everywhere. But I'm not that concerned about some of these things as ground covers in this bed because they're not out competing anything else, and they keep the soil covered, and that's a good thing. Okay, so back here we've got another Rudbeckia that I had to do a hard cut back of. We've got the seedlings that we planted of foxglove and other Rudbeckias, so they're looking great. They are still here. This salvia planted last year. It was in a container for the summer, and then I moved it here in the fall, and we're going to do the same thing today with 2 more salvias. This one, because it's in bloom right now, the hummingbirds have just been loving this. They're just all over it, especially in the morning. We have 3 Rudbeckias here. This one doing obviously much better than these guys. I had to cut this guy back hard, but you can see it's trying to push up a tiny little flower. And then this one, the same thing, I had to cut it back hard. But in here we've got more seedlings that we planted recently, Feverfew and foxglove. And then this salvia, which was also grown from a seedling. I can't remember the variety, but yeah, lots of irises. I need to come in here and clean up some of their, leaves that have browned, but they're in good shape. We have a lot of Nepeta catmint in here, and as you can see, creeping thyme as well, which, the point of this is to take over as a ground cover. And then we've got a squash that I planted that it's still here. I don't know how. It's not producing anything, but it's still here. Some lupins in here. We have this gorgeous Veronica, which I started from seed a long time ago, and I was shocked to find it blooming this year. And then we've got some other salvias that are popping up. This gorgeous echinacea that I planted about a month ago. I love this red color. It's so pretty. And then some ivy that's trying to creep in here. I've got to battle that back. But the back row of this bed is a lot of penstemon and salvias and Dusty Miller, which is really tall. We've got some Gara up front here. No idea the variety. This has been here for years. Don't remember what it is. We've got some calendula in here that has had major cutback, is giving a few more flowers, but it will continue to bloom all winter long. And then we have a couple of cotton lavenders in here, and this is really interesting. So this was an experiment for me this year. I had never grown these before, so I have a silver variety, and then this is a green variety. It had yellow blooms on it. They're obviously long dried. I'm going to cut those out. But the silver variety never really did much. It stayed really small, did not flower, and this one was the same size when it went in and got much bigger and flowered for me multiple times. So interesting. Also along the front here, more Sweet Alyssum, and of course creeping thyme and Self-Heal, which again did not plant, but it's doing an okay job of covering the ground. Now, a lot of these seedlings that you see are actually foxglove seedlings, teeny tiny, because those plants, when they drop seed, they drop like billions of seeds. The tiny seeds, and they're just everywhere. So they will crowd each other out. If I see some bigger ones, I might pot them up and bump them up and make them bigger, and then plant them out on the back of the border in the spring. But for the most part, I just leave them, and they're so packed in there together, they don't really do much. But it's okay. It works. It works as a good ground cover. Okay, so more salvias. We've got some California poppies in here, which are currently not blooming, which is normal. They don't bloom this time of year. This is one of the roses that we planted in the spring. The other one went into a pot. This one is the Romantica ball gown, and it struggled all year. Not health-wise. Healthy-wise, it's great. It got eaten. The rats and the mice ate so many branches off of this thing, and I had to keep cutting it back. And it finally produced a single rose. So I'm hoping next year it'll be bigger and it'll do a better job. We've got some snowberry in the back, and then this giant salvia, which hasn't even started blooming yet. It's really, really pretty. I can't remember if the flowers are red or blue, but I think they're blue. More irises. We've got a creeping salvia back here, which is taking over, which is great because it's blocking the ivy from coming in to the bed. And then more catnip, catmint, and lamb's ear. More dusty. This is about to get a major harvest for the wedding that I'm doing in a couple of weeks. And then over here, the back end, we've got a lot of sweet alyssum just popping up. Some irises in here. Some other plants that are now dormant and are not present, so I have to be careful when I pop some new things in. But a hollyhock that just finished. And then all of this salvia, which I never cut back. I kind of wish I had, but it's still blooming and the bees are just loving it. So it will just stay up all winter. We'll cut it back in the spring. And then a dahlia that I didn't plant, ended up here by seed and has been here for a couple years. And also a black knight scabiosa, and then this beautiful blue salvia and a hollyhock and some other tiny things in here. Now these two pots are the ones we're going to be focusing on first. I'll go over all of that in just a minute. This green stalk I need to empty out. It's got a bunch of stuff that, just got eaten by rats and stuff, but we do have the only peppers really that we've had on the property up here in this top tier. So that's the second year in a row. They grow well up here. It's hot in this corner. So I'll keep doing that every year if I can't find a more protected place to grow them. And then this bed, which we lost. So I planted these really cute petunias and I love this orange and bluish purple mix here. I planted these weeks and weeks ago, and then the mice ate them down to nothing. And now that we've killed most of the mice back here, they've come back and they're looking cute, but you can see the bed edge that I cut is just gone. So I need to come in and recut all of this and pull out all this spurge because I don't want it to take over these plants. They are annuals, but they'll persist for quite a while because we don't really get our first frost until mid to late November. So definitely want to keep these going. There are a lot of fall bulbs in here, but I'm going to be adding more. And then this helichrysum, which I'm actually really happy that I cut back so hard because it's forming more of a ball shape. And I really like that. So I'll do another shear of it pretty soon, and it'll form that ball shape. It's really pretty. I enjoy that. Our hydrangeas that we transplanted from the greenhouse pots. This one definitely struggling more than this one. They are browning on their flowers, which is weird, but they grew, they put out a bunch of stems. They'll get more fertilizer and they'll give us more stems next year. And then these, look at them. These are all limelights, by the way. Just beautiful blooms. I love when they age like this. I have not cut these for any bouquets because I want to save them for the wedding. Okay, containers we are not going to tackle today, but I do have plans for, I have one on either side of this glass sliding door. For years now, they've had strawberries and sweet alyssum in them, and now they've got clematis finally succeeding, running up these, these trellises in both pots. That took multiple tries to get that to happen. But the soil level is down like 5 inches. So what I'm going to do, and I haven't put new soil in this in ages because, I can't. So what I'm going to do, not now, probably wait a month or two till it starts getting cold, pull everything out, keep all of the strawberries separately, add a whole bunch of soil, bring the soil level back up to where it needs to be, and then replant them in here. And the alyssum will die back for the winter, but it will come back. It self-sows itself in here all the time. Over here, the alyssum is all but gone, and what has taken over instead is this weird campanula that I didn't ever plant, and I don't know how it got in here because it doesn't occur anywhere else in my yard. It's the strangest thing. It's really pretty, but yeah, so I do want to even them up, probably pull out that campanula, and in the spring also, or I'll put more alyssum so that they both match. But I think that the clematis is going to be good. I think it's going to stay here. I don't think hopefully it won't die off over the winter. Okay, let me show you what we've got for plants to put in. But first I'm going to let the camera cool down because it's about to shut off because it's overheating. So once it cools down, we'll start again and I'll show you the plants we're going to work on today. Okay, so first There was a big sale and I got picked up a couple of times. I'm going to put them, repot them in 2 spots here. As you can see, I never finished this tier, so I'll just pull out some of the more ratty ones and put those guys in. But we have time in another tier as well, so this is all still doing well. Okay, and then at the hardware store, they were having a big sale on this size mums, which is crazy. Got these for $7.99. This size is usually more like 15 bucks, so sometimes it pays to go to an off, like where you wouldn't expect. So I don't have a plan for these beauties yet. You know, I always love the idea of doing my whole front walk. I mean, not the front walk, the front porch where there's like the steps and then just decking it out with tons of mums. But they die because it is 100% shade there. So it's kind of a bummer because I can't ever get that look, that like all these pumpkins and mums and everything. I just love that look. I can put pumpkins out there and I will make it look fall, but if I put these mums out there, they're just gonna die because they won't get enough sun. They won't get any sun. Okay, so I have these guys, don't know what I'm doing with them yet. And then I have, look at this, a bee friend enjoying it. I do have this Agastache, which is gonna go in a location where I did have an Echinacea that completely failed. So I'm just gonna pop that in the cottage garden. But the rest of this stuff is really for containers. So we've got this really gorgeous, this one's called Deep Orange. It is sun to part shade. That's what I love about pansies. They're so adaptable. So I got this orange color because I love it so much. Perfect for the fall. And then this one is called Lemon Chiffon. And I like this could work for spring or summer or fall. I love it. Really is pretty with that. Then we've got these mums. I've got 4 of them in these tiny 4-inch pots, a little bit bigger. And then we've got 2 Echinacea, I'm sorry, 2 Rudbeckias, exactly the same. These are going to be for a container, and also this Grama Grass. This is a California native, so I am going to use this, and it's more of a sedge than a grass, even though they call it a grass. That is going to go in a container, so technically I'm not supposed to have these, but my argument will be it's a native, and if they want me to pull it out, I'll pull it out. So then I have more of that orange, and then just pure white. These guys actually are going to be in a more shade environment, and we'll get to that. So these are the containers we're going to be dealing with right now. And of course, I picked the hottest time of day for that. This salvia, so both these containers are identical. This salvia is called Hot Lips. And this is the 3rd flush it's given me this year, which is amazing. It is a perennial, but I'm going to pull it out of this container and go ahead and put it in the cottage garden. This is its 2nd year in this container, and it's not as leafed out and dense as it was the 1st year, even though it gets cut back the same. And I think that is it's suffering in this container. So I'm going to pull it out, put that in the cottage garden. And then this, I can't remember what it was called. I just didn't dig it very well. I'll try to look up the name and put it on the screen. And then we've got Creeping Jenny here, which I'm definitely pulling out of here. This was just kind of a placeholder. It did not do well. These pots get intense sun almost all day long. It is the south-facing side of the house is very hot, and hardly any breeze back here, so they struggle. But what I'm going to put in are sun-loving things that should do great. So first I'm going to clear them out. I'm going to cut back these salvias, even though the hummingbirds are still enjoying them. There's hardly any flowers on them. I'm going to cut them back, and then we'll plant them in the cut back form in the cottage garden. That will be less stress on the plant to try to support these big tall stems while it's trying to root into its new home. So I'll do that first, and then clear out the other 2, which I'm not going to bother saving, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with the annuals. I mean, with the with the new stuff going in. Okay, I'm really liking this combination. It will fill in because right now these guys are very droopy from the heat of sitting out here on the patio. But now they're in a pot, they're watered deeply. And this is all blooms on here. There's many more as well as here. So that will get really full and look beautiful. I love the colors. I think it's the perfect thing to take us through to the fall. Okay, next up are these 6 containers, 3 on each side flanking the greenhouse. Now, they've gone through a lot of evolutions since we put the greenhouse up 4 years ago. In these largest containers, what used to be here is the hydrangeas that I showed you that got transplanted out. So there used to be hydrangeas here, limelights. Those got transplanted out, and then we put in last fall when we did that. This is a sword fern called autumn fern, and it's really pretty. The new leaves have this red auburn color, and then they mature to green. But super happy here, right? Both of these pots look amazing. And then I underplanted it with some coleus, which immediately died, and then a whole bunch of pansies, giant face pansies. These were the antique shade variety. And that was last fall, and they just looked gorgeous on this side, died on this side. Totally fine. So we also have in the medium-sized containers, this is Albutilon flowering maple, and this one came back from cutting it back last fall, and it's doing great. It has not bloomed yet this year, and I don't think it will. I think it'll be next year. This one I had to buy new because with the cutback, it killed the plant. So we've got those. So the ferns and the Albutilon stay. And then in the front, we have a tiny pot, which I usually have cyclamen in the wintertime. But in the summer, I put this polka dot plant and a coleus. You can see this polka dot plant loves its life here. It's blooming. I honestly didn't even know they bloomed. And there's a pretty coleus back here. It's like pink with green, but the rats ate the coleus out of both pots. And the polka dot plants, they didn't like. Those survived. So I think I'm going to keep those. And, you know, hopefully, the problem is there's a difference because the polka dot plant on this side is in the small container, and on this side the polka dot plant is in the large container. Not the large container, the medium size, and I don't think I want to move it. What I had on the other side in the medium container was these white impatiens, and the rats ate those on the other side. So we are lopsided on what is growing where. And then I have this nasturtium that I popped some seeds in here last fall, and then it came up and it just got huge. It was beautiful. It was climbing over everything, and then I just kind of attached it up the side of the wall. It is blooming again. Looking a little raggedy though. So I don't have the heart to pull it out just yet, but it will come out before the end of the season. However, it has nicely dropped its seeds everywhere, which is great. So we'll get more of these in the spring and summer. So what I have right now is not a lot, because I would really prefer that these sides be symmetrical. That is not how it is right now. So this pot down here has a cyclamen that's just not doing well. I'm going to pull it out. This polka dot plant right here, if I can get it out, see, I'm worried about damaging it. I think I might just leave it there. It's in next to this, boy, this Albutilon needs more staking. It's just going crazy. But all I have right now to put in here are some pansies. So we've got the same orange ones that we already planted. And like I said, these can go into full sun to part shade. And then this is just a plain white viola. So yeah, I'm going to pop these guys in various places just to give a little bit of brightness in here, because these pots it is pretty dark back here with all the green. I mean, it's beautiful and luscious, but if I have a few pops of color peeking through, like those white impatiens, it really is nice. And the polka dot plant, it draws your eye a little bit more. So I'm just going to kind of pop these in. There's no major plan here. I would pull out, you know, if this was not doing well, I'd pull this out and just replant this whole pot, but it's so pretty and it's so happy and healthy. I don't want to pull it out. Plus, I'm actually curious to see if maybe it will overwinter for me and come back in the spring. All right, so I'm just going to play around by popping some stuff in, and then we'll have one final little job to do, and then we'll be done for the day. Okay, so pretty in the dappled shade here. Obviously, I need to put something back here, and I don't have anything like that on hand right now, but we've got alternating orange and white up front. Those will be pretty, I mean, for a long time. These guys can even survive the winter here, but I definitely want to get something for here and probably something for over there. I think we might have caught the last rodent right around here because the trap got sprung the other day. Maybe it's that big one, Tony, but we'll see. So I don't have anything for that right now, but I am going to put something in it. I definitely didn't add anything to the fern pot because it is just taking over and it's happy there. And then over here, not major changes, just a couple of pops of the orange and white in there. They'll get bigger and they'll provide more flowers, and it will be a little bit brighter over here. One thing someone told me years and years ago, that I've always remembered and taken to heart is when you're buying things in the nursery, buy the plants that have a lot of buds but don't really have any flowers on them yet. For flowering plants, because if you get those plants that are like gorgeous, all leafed out, all blooming, that might be the last bloom for those. You may have to cut it back hard, and then it'll be a long time before you get another bloom. So if you can find the plants that have tons of unopened buds, those are the ones to buy, because then you'll be the beneficiary of all of those flowers when they finally bloom. Okay, last set of things to plant. We're going to go up front. Okay, up on the front porch, again with the asymmetry. So these pots, I have usually changed out for the seasons. Put something in for spring, something for summer, fall, and winter. And then, you know, for Christmas, I usually do, you know, something lighted or whatever. But this, like January, I planted these fuchsias. They're absolutely beautiful. They've been blooming, and it took them a long time to get to this height because they were very small when they went in. But they're doing great. This one has been doing really great, pumping out the blooms. It is just about wrapped up for the year. This one struggled. It did great. And then all of a sudden, half of it died. Half of it died. I checked the soil. It was normal, like it was the same as this in terms of like moisture. It wasn't like there was water pooling, nothing like that. I have no idea what caused that. But I cut the dead part off and then it came back, and it's been beautiful ever since. Also, the coleus that you see here, that also died, but it came back. So there was just enough of it. There was an identical coleus over here, as well as these two. So both the pots had one of these, or two of these, green and white with a purple and green in the middle, right? So there were 3 coleuses in the front, which is actually a lot because they get huge. But yeah, so it's just interesting to see how they did. So now that this is doing so well, I don't really want to take the coleus out, but it will not survive winter, definitely won't. So I think what I'm going to do, pink, hot pink fuchsia is not a autumn color, but these plants are starting to end their bloom cycle, and now we'll just have green, okay? I could take them out, and I'm thinking about this still, and I might do this still, not today. I could take them out and put them in the landscape here because they don't really need any sun. I could put them on the front walk somewhere, but they're really happy in these pots. So I think for now I'm going to leave them. But I think what I am going to do is, and I may be able to keep the coleus in here anyway, and just maybe cut it back a little bit. But I'm going to pop in these violas. They're black. I love these so much. What is the variety here? Black Delight. I love black violas and pansies, especially around Halloween time. A couple years ago, I did orange and black ones in here, and I can't remember what the centerpiece was, but I just love them. This is the front patio. It's shaded almost all the time. And so these fuchsia do get a little bit of morning light, but that's about it. And so everything that goes in here needs to be able to tolerate the shade. And even though these aren't eye-popping for color-wise, I think they'll still be fun. So I'm just gonna pop these in around the base. I probably will cut back these large stems or just take out the coleus altogether, just so there's more cohesion. And then we'll have the two fuchsias and the violas around the front. And it's still gonna be warm enough for quite a while that they'll fill in and we'll get a nice round ring around each plant. So I have 6 for each plant. And this is our last planting job for the day. So I'm gonna get started and then wrap it up. Okay, so I know you can't see them very well, but they are there and they will get bigger and they will start to spill over the front. I think I am actually going to cut back a few of these kind of long overhanging branches that are covering up, there we go, covering up the pansies. I mean the violas, but yeah. So it may not look like much, but it'll fill in. And I really enjoy them. I wish this was more full over here, but it is what it is. I'm thrilled that it came back. And actually it gives the violas more room over there. But yeah, they'll fill in nicely and I'll have a nice big carpet of dark purple, black flowers around the bottom here. And again, while they're still here, black goes with everything, so the fuchsia flowers will be fine, but it will look a little bit more autumnal once the pink goes away. And who knows, maybe I can add some orange ones in there as well. Okay, so that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for hanging out. It was a really lovely day. The high was 73 today. I was sweating a lot when I was working in the back because, in the direct sun, it was very hot. But I love making the changeover. Autumn is my very favorite season, and hopefully we won't have a scorching one this year. Hopefully it'll be nice and mellow like the summer has been, and we'll be able to enjoy it. So thanks again for hanging out. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden. Take care. Bye.